months later, I'd blown the rest of the signing bonus that I had. He rolled me around and took me to a house I used to sell dope out of. But the house looked much different. It was rehabbed, renovated, family was in it. I was like, that's dope. And he was like, that's what we did with the 20 grand you gave me. And he was like, it's a little profit. Like, I can give you your money back, or we can do some more houses.
Long before T.I. was in films like ATL or Ant-Man, or on TV with his own show like Family Hustle, T.I. was known as a rubber band man and one of the pioneers of trap music, along with Jeezy, who I also did a video on, and Gucci Mane. Born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, T.I. signed his first record deal with Arista in 1999 and released his debut album, I'm Serious, in 2001. But before we get into it, I'm Julian. Welcome to All Money Media. I share videos about the keys to building wealth to get you inspired. So please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. Your support means a lot. Thank you. Now, T.I.'s first album didn't sell well. It was critically panned for being unoriginal and repetitive. The poor reception led to T.I. being dropped from the label. But that setback didn't stop Tip. He bounced back with the series of mixtapes leading up to his guest feature on fellow Atlanta rapper Bone Crusher's hit song, Never Scared. T.I.'s guest verse was the highlight of that song, gaining him national exposure and introducing the world to the rubber band man. His increased popularity gave him the opportunity to sign a joint venture deal between his newly founded label, Grand Hustle Entertainment, and Atlantic Records. That same year, T.I. released his second studio album, Trap Music, through his Grand Hustle imprint in 2003. That album took over the streets and airwaves with hit songs like 24's, Be Easy, Rubber Band Man, and Let's Get Away, instantly making T.I. one of the biggest rappers in the game. From there, he would only go up, releasing platinum and multi-platinum albums for the next 10 years while making some of the biggest hits in the rap game. T.I. transitioned into several industries throughout his career. He expanded his reach into fashion by producing several clothing lines, acting in multiple films throughout the years, as well as his own reality TV shows. Interestingly enough, one of the most intriguing parts about T.I.'s story is one that he never seems to put in music. It starts back in the year 2000 after signing his first record deal with Arista. So let's check out the full clip from earlier and we'll talk on the other side.
My uncle, basically, when I got my first piece of money, he was just getting out of prison. He asked me for 20 grand, and of course I gave it to him. Months later, I'd blown the rest of the signing bonus that I had. He rolled me around and took me to a house I used to sell dope out of. But the house looked much different. It was rehabbed, renovated, family was in it. I was like, that's dope. And he was like, that's what we did with the 20 grand you gave me. And he was like, it's a little profit. Like, I can give you your money back, or we can do some more houses. So he kept rolling, and we ended up doing about 80-some houses. Some duplexes, triplexes, some quads, but just quick flips though, 100,000 here and there, you know. So that's how I got into real estate.
As you could see, T.I. was still living off of his advance money. His uncle, right out of jail, asked him for $20,000, which I'm sure was a large chunk of that advance money. The music industry is a shady business. When a record label signs an artist, they give them an advance, but that's not really the artist's money to go out and blow on chains, clothes, and cars. It's money that artists owe back to the label, which is usually recouped from album and song sales, which is one of the reasons that so many artists end up broke and in debt to their label. So the fact is, T.I. didn't really have the money to give to his uncle, but he gave it to him anyway. So when T.I. ran through his advance money, he came back to his uncle hoping he would have something to give him back. Surprisingly, not only did T.I.'s uncle have the $20,000 that he was loaned, but he had already flipped the house with that money. And he offered T.I. the opportunity to reinvest those profits and get in the real estate game with him by flipping houses. Seeing the potential in real estate, T.I. agreed to go into business with his uncle. Together, they flipped over 80 houses, earning hundreds of thousands of dollars here and there. However, things slowed down when the financial crisis hit in 2008 and markets collapsed. But what T.I. didn't know then is that this was just the beginning of him amassing one of the largest real estate portfolios in Atlanta. When the market collapsed, just like when he lost his first record deal after his first album failed, he didn't give up. Instead, he pivoted strategies as he noticed the commercial real estate market didn't crash like everything else. T.I. T.I. became a heavy investor in the commercial real estate space, owning clubs, restaurants, warehouses, and other real estate spaces. Throughout the years, T.I. opened the legendary Club Crucial in Bankhead, V-Live, a gentleman's club, Trap City Cafe, and his now famous Trap Museum, which has become a landmark in Atlanta, sharing the history of trap music and southern rap. I've been there myself and it's a pretty dope experience. T.I. also partnered with Killer Mike to buy and revive the historic Bankhead Seafood Restaurant in Atlanta, which surprisingly led to another opportunity when Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms offered Tip an opportunity to join the transition board with other community leaders and businessmen throughout the city. Through his participation on the board, T.I. learned about an affordable housing initiative that the mayor had been working on. He joined the development, which was a $37 million partnership between private and public investors, as well as Bank of America, which would later become the Entrada Westside Apartments, a 143-unit affordable housing development. The 75,000 square foot development is in the same Bankhead neighborhood where T.I. grew up. It's actually the same shopping center that he and his grandmother used to go to when he was young. The development will feature a recreation center, community garden, and greenhouse, among other amenities, while providing job opportunities to low-income residents, which is part of Tip's goal to build a clean community that residents can be proud of, and to fight gentrification in Atlanta, which has been something that's been affecting a lot of urban communities around the country, by raising prices of local properties and communities to a point that housing becomes unaffordable to the residents that were already living there. Throughout history, real estate has always been a vehicle that the wealthy have invested in, but real estate has also made more millionaires than anything else. Here are a few simple ways that you can own, invest in, and benefit from real estate. But keep in mind, every investment comes with a layer of risk. The easiest, most common way that you can get into real estate is to buy your own primary residence. The good thing is when you pay your mortgage every month and your property appreciates over time, it's building equity that you can access through a refinance or when you sell your house. Down the line, you can also turn your house into a rental property, buy another house, rinse and repeat until you have a nice real estate portfolio. You can also just straight up invest in rental properties. These properties tend to be a little cheaper and may require renovations for you to get them in shape and rent them out. These days, there are a couple different types of rentals. Long-term rentals are when you agree to at least a year lease with the tenant and you get paid rent every single month. Short-term rentals are like Airbnbs. They're places that a tenant may stay for a couple nights. These do require the landlord to have a system or people in place to go in and turn those properties over when a guest leaves to be ready for the next guest to come in. Flipping properties is when you buy a distressed property at a discount, renovate it, and resell it. More than the other options mentioned, flipping properties requires a lot more upfront capital and experience to be able to go in and renovate a property and sell it to make a profit. Don't let HGTV fool you. It's not that easy. And of course, there are many other ways that you can invest in real estate, but these are just the most common. The barriers of entry may be a little higher when it comes to real estate. For instance, you have to have money for a down payment. Your credit has to be good enough to get approved for a bank loan. But the benefits far outweigh any challenges that you have to go through to become a homeowner in this country and start building generational wealth. So thanks for checking out the video. Please like and sub to the channel. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about T.I., his uncle, and how he got invested in real estate. Also, if there's another interview or podcast you would like to see a video on, please drop a link in the comments. Make sure you're following me on TikTok. Check out the next video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.